One area where people don't really use the help they need is coaching. People avoid it at all costs for some reasons. You can see athletes or the best on any field. They have coaches. Last week, I signed up for a coaching program for government contracts, and so far it's been amazing. But I think at some point, waiting for a miracle or winning the lottery or some big movement in your life because before it changes, it's not going to happen. It only happens for very, very few people in the population. So the best thing to do is just sometimes to execute on what you say you were going to do, because life only happen when you take action. So I think at some point we have to just take action and do it. That's the only antidote, right? Life only responds to action. Sometimes those who need it the most are the least inclined. Have you noticed that in life, a lot of people struggle, and as an outsider, sometimes you feel like you want to help them. You feel like you understand what they need, but they don't want your advice, or they totally don't do it. It might be in areas like health or finance. You might see somebody struggling health-wise, gaining weight, eating poorly, and you might have a good advice like, hey, watch out, get some vitamin D or get some creatine, and they disregard your advice. Or in business, right? One area where people don't really use the help they need is coaching. People avoid it at all costs for some reasons. You can see athletes or the best on any field. They have coaches. Last week, I signed up for a coaching program for government contracts, and so far it's been amazing. I've struggled by myself. I've submitted a lot of proposals and I didn't win the bid. I ain't gonna lie, at some point I almost gave up. I didn't want to do it anymore. And I parked it, sometimes for a few months, sometimes for a few weeks. But getting a coach last week really helped. This week has been great. First of all the bid that I had in mind that I'm planning to bid on was reviewed by the coach, and it's a little boost. It made me understand the difference between a contract and an opportunity. A contract is whatever you see on the US SAM.gov platform. You might see somebody that looks some contracts that looks attractive and you start working on it. But if you haven't properly vet, you might be putting a lot of effort on something that's not going to be successful. And that's one caveat to avoid. In order to do that, the coach helped me see through the first things you need to look at. You need to see what they ask the proposal to be. Some contract, they don't have a lot of requirements, but other ones, they are very, very detailed. And you got to be careful on getting on some contract where the requirements are hard and they're very difficult and complex. The complexity makes a good contract becoming bad, like it's not an opportunity anymore. But the simpler it is, the bigger the opportunity. And it's clear, like when I look at the different example, I can see that my effort is paying forward, wasting time, working for hours on contracts that I thought were opportunity. And at the end, I just see, oh, no, this is women only, or this is veteran only. So having that little 5-minute vetting, looking at the key terms, is it total small business? Is it zone? So if I don't qualify, even if the contract looks good, even if it's simple, if it's easy, just dismiss it. Therefore, this week was very productive just by making that little change. That's why tonight I was just thinking about it. I'm like, wow, really, those who need it the most sometimes are the less inclined. And I wonder why life is like that. Why everybody doesn't just get the feedback they need and execute. I don't know. I mean, if you find a solution, I'll be happy to hear. But I think at some point, waiting for a miracle or winning the lottery or some big movement in your life because before it changes, it's not going to happen. It only happens for very, very few people in the population. So the best thing to do is just sometimes to execute on what you say you were going to do, because life only happen when you take action. And that's one thing that I also want to talk about tonight. The action that I took, talking to the coach, attending all the coaching call this week was very great. And it's a small group. it's like a mastermind, only 9 to 12 people. So I have plenty of time to ask my questions, and I like it. I always wanted to have that one-on-one interaction because there's a lot of coaching program out there that I've tried before, and you get in there, it's just like 50 people, everybody over talking, everybody. At the end of the day, you don't even get to ask your question, or sometimes you feel frustrated because as soon as you join the call, people ask questions so high level that you don't really feel like asking a simple question will make you look good, and you keep your question and you never ask it. So I like the environment. I like the fact that I was able to talk to the coach at least 30 minutes every day this week and getting things moving forward. That's really, really big results that I was looking for, because my problem wasn't that I wasn't bidding for contract. My problem is I was bidding for contracts and wasting time on contract instead of bidding for opportunities and actually have the chance to win. That's why we all do this. We all want to win, right? So if you want to win, what wouldn't you do to win if it doesn't hurt somebody else, if it's not illegal? So I think at some point we have to just take action and do it. That's the only antidote, right? Life only responds to action. And my message tonight is, even when the going is hard, even when you don't think you can make any more effort, just remember why you're doing what you're doing. Keep pushing forward. Do the things you know you need to do to win. I feel like when I say those who need it the most are the listening client, is because deep down, I knew I needed a coach. I knew I needed a one-on-one. I knew what I need to win. Nobody else can know my vision. It's God-given. So if you know what you're supposed to do and you don't do it, don't blame anybody else. It's like Nike sign, just do it, and then you can complain. Don't sit down and lay on the couch and cry for too long, right? What I've learned on my entrepreneurship journey is that the people who are successful is like a pendulum. I remember when I first started doing entrepreneurship, I took this class where it talked about a very nice principle. A lot of people move like a pendulum, just a little bit. Everybody moves like a pendulum, right? But some people don't understand that if you just take a little bit of risk, you're just going to get a little bit of victory. So it's like a pendulum. So high risk, high opportunity. High risk, high opportunity. Low risk, a low opportunity. So in order to move forward, you need to switch your timing, because a lot of people sometimes in life, when they take a little bit of risk and they lose this, they stay there for too long. I mean, you might cry for 5 minutes and then you get going. Right? That's why I like having a coach or mentor, because they're going to keep pushing you so you don't sit down and cry. I mean, one thing I like when I started working for the federal government is the idea of buddy mentor. For me, that was more valuable than mentorship, because I remember I signed up for mentorship because it was mandatory. Man, I met an SES, like he was big on the base, like big money manager. And at the same time, I had a buddy mentor. It was like somebody who was just 1 year above me. And as a matter of fact, it was younger than me. But that interaction was more valuable. Sitting back 9 years later, I feel like I gained more from the birdie mentorship, because I could ask him stupid questions. I could ask him simple questions. But when I went to the big office with the SES is like a level after GS15. Like when you've mastered all the government grades as a civilian, you get to the SES level. So when I was meeting with the SES, I mean, it was overwhelming. I'm not going to lie. Compared to when I met with a birdie mentor, Alan, I mean, he taught me how to do the training easier, how to set myself into the base, what's important. But the SES, it was so high level that I didn't really find it valuable. I mean, it helped me. So I'm just saying that to say, if a coach or a mentor is not something you entertain, having somebody else just 6 months ahead of you is helpful. At least you have somebody to talk to push you, move forward with you. So the strategies to keep moving forward, even when you've lost all your strength, all your passion, to like find a buddy mentor. That's what I would recommend. I would recommend finding a coach, having a group a mastermind, that's not too big. I don't like the big mastermind, like I explained earlier. And that's pretty much it. So my week was pretty good. Now, let me go back to work. I'm gonna see you on the next episode.